Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Thunder and today we are going to be going over the results of the Salt Lake City Regionals that was just held this weekend. This is the Sunday evening after the tournament concluded just a few hours later. Here you can see the top 7. One of the members was disqualified during deck check for top 8. I believe that person was playing a variant of Arceus Gengar. But the variant of Arceus Gengar that was not disqualified from top 8 is Drew Kennett. Yeah, Arceus Gengar won the event. So spoiler, not really spoiler. Arceus Gengar won the event. The list that won it is actually super spicy. Props to Drew Kennett for taking first place with this list. This thing included Hyper Potions. It included Crowded Amphitheater or something like that. I don't know. It was the stadium card that limits bench space by 1. And then second place was Daniel Lynch on Suicune Ludicolo, a deck that hasn't really seen a lot of hype or a lot of play since Evolving Skies format. This was now, despite what these results look like, and again, this was as you can see here, this was a 600-man regionals, a 600-person regionals. This was a very large event. It was the first event back in the state, on this side of the planet. The regionals in Brisbane happened last week that Mew did take home, and that was kind of the snapshot of the meta that I think everybody was expecting. This week, it turned out completely different. We have a whole bunch of lists that I can pull up from various decks that did well in the tournament. We have Nicholas Moffat here, got top 4. This was with the Arceus, what I have dubbed Arceus Birds. It's Galarian Moltres and Galarian Zapdos along with Inteleon. We have Charlie Lockyer who had a pretty sweet list. Also, God, man. Ugh, I miss this format. But had a pretty sweet list with Sandaconda, Flygon, and Beedrill. Here, I can just have these pictures pulled up. We will go over all these individually here. This was a Jolteon list that got very close to making top cut. I think that's all the important stuff here. Any other interesting tweets that we saw? I saw some interesting updates. But yeah, okay, so this is the entire, here we go. So this was the entire top 32. This is what I was waiting for, and I was hoping to see this. This is the entire top 32, and we can see exactly who got where. One thing to note, so Jolteon, because of the disqualification during deck check, Andre Chasson actually was not able to play with Jolteon in the top 8, and I actually think that was huge. But Jolteon did bubble out at 9th, and as did the Arceus Sandaconda deck, bubbled out at 9th. 2, 10, 2, 3, really, I believe it was, 10, 2, 2, and 2 players, 2 of them made the top 8. Technically 3 would have with this setup. So these 2 right here bubbled. They were very, very close to making it in, but this is a very interesting top 16. There was a single Mew deck, or not a single, there were only 2 Mew decks in the top 16. That is crazy, but we do have some bigger numbers for the event as a whole. As the tournament gets, as we continue to, as Pokestats continues to collate data and whatnot for the event. And so let's take a look. And I have actually brought up a ton of, I have made pie charts and put together a lot of the data. So this is the total meta share for day 2 decks across the board, if I counted correctly. Mew VMAX, going into day 2 of this event, Mew VMAX made up 43% of the metagame. Say what you want, that is bonkers. That is a massive meta share for any deck in a tournament in day 2. Of course, like clearly that means that the deck is very good and there were a lot of competent people playing the deck. And it means it has a very, it has a skill floor. You're only going to do so bad at an event if you run Mew V Max. But again, that being said, we can scroll down here. Like, this is just the big story of the event. We can scroll down here. This is the top 8. This is the top 8. Gengar, Arceus, Arceus Birds, Arceus Inteleon, and Suicune. Not a single Mew in the top 8, only 2 in the top 16. The conversion rate from day 2, which was 74 people total, 43% of the decks were Mew, 32 was the exact number. that's just insane. That is just a crazy statistic to see no Mew. But when you really think about it, it's not that crazy, because we're going to go over all of the decks that are in this chunk right here, not the Jolteon or anything past that, but all the decks right about here. And there's two things to note about them. One, all of these decks, along with a couple of others, are part of the all decks in the Arceus archetypes. Here, I need to make a... This equals... hold on. Nope, stop it. God damn it, I always do this. Hold on. I need a sum. Sum of all of this, yes. Can't believe there's no hockey for that. There were 26 total Arceus decks that made day 2. 26 total Arceus decks that made day 2. Of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 made the top 8. Arceus variants had a better conversion rate into the top 8 than Mew decks did. Mew decks had a 0% conversion rate into the top 8. That's crazy. That is a bonkers statistic. I don't think anybody would have possibly predicted that. And also, that's one thing that we're going to do. We're going to go over all of my predictions for the event after we talk about the numbers here and check off what was correct and what wasn't. So yeah, and in the end, Gengar VMAX, Arceus VMAX is the one that is the deck that actually won in the top 8. What other interesting things to note? One, there was a ton of Gengar, right? There were, I mean, when I say a ton, it's not like a crap ton, but there were 7 Gengar players, right? The other thing to note is that all of the Gengar players, all the Arceus Gengar VMAX players that made it to day 2 got to top 8. That's notable. Suicune Ludicolo, of the 2 people that got to day 2, 1 made top 8. 50% conversion rate, 100% conversion rate, 50% conversion rate. Of the Jolteon VMAX players, 1 of them bubbled top 8. That's a 33% conversion rate, very, very close to it at least. Other decks that made it, Inteleon and Birds, had decent conversion rates of their own. These both had 2 from each, so right around that 28% mark. Gengar Houndoom had 2 as well. So basically all of these decks, right? All 3 of these had pretty good top 8 conversion rates, right? Like if you were going into a tournament, if you're looking at the day 2 projection of a tournament and you see this number, that's like half the top 8, right? In the cuts top 8, this is going to be half the top 8. Just based on pure statistics, right? Just like based on numbers, this is going to be, you're going to get 4 people out of this moving on to the top 8, because that's only like, that's like a 15% conversion rate, like right around there, 14-15% conversion rate or something like that. But that didn't happen, right? There was none. It's nuts. Other notable decks, Arceus Beedrill, but again, Arceus, I don't know. I can't, there's not much for me to say about this tournament right now, other than that it's bonkers that this deck didn't make top 8. And I will say, in the matches that they were played on camera, it didn't look great. Mew looked kind of bad on camera. And the reason that I think that is, and we'll talk about this, is because every single one of these decks, every single one of these, save for this one, and this one, were specifically designed to beat the brakes off of Mew VMAX. So that's what. So we'll scroll down again. These decks, all of these right here, specifically designed to beat the brakes off of Mew VMAX. And now let's come back here. Let's take a look at Charlie Lockyer's list. This is a bonker. This is a nuts list. This is all right. So if you can't tell, 2 Arceus V Star, 3 Arceus V. I legitimately can't tell you what this thing is. I think these are Lumineon Vs. Okay, these are the Lumineon Vs. Beedrill, Flygon, Sandaconda, Arceus. This targets specifically other Arceus decks and Mew. Beedrill is meant to kill Mew does not attack without special energy. Mew literally, like, the deck functions around Meloetta and the Fusion Strike energy, the echoing thing that whatever it's called. This deck functions around killing Mew with Beedrill after using single strike style Mustard to get the Beedrill onto the bench and to make things happen. This is the Mew, like, this is one of the many Mew killer decks. There were so many people that were not on Mew. Nicholas Moffat on Arceus Burt. This designed to kill Mew along with the single fighting type for the Arceus and other dark matchups. Again, the Moltres, the Galarian Moltres, both the single prize and the V, designed to kill Mew. Jolteon not as designed to kill Mew, but it's very interesting that this did well. It's mostly because nobody has the bench space right now for the bench barrier mana fee, and the deck is just very consistent and only needs a few energy to function. Like you see here, the deck only runs 7 energy. It only needs 7 energy. The speed energy is super good for draw. The lightning energy is there just to be easily accessible and searchable with energy search. I'm going to be quite frank with you. It's a very good deck, but people haven't been playing it because, you know, most people think that Mew just completely dumpsters it. But if you get past the Mew, this is a very good deck against the rest of the format. And then finally, we should have the other lists. We should have some other lists here. We'll take a look at, oh man, dude. I think this is an Arceus list that not a lot of people, but there was a testing group that brought a variant of Arceus Inteleon. This includes like Rahul Reddy, it includes Xander Perot here, who got top 8. A bunch of other people. Arceus Inteleon, there's a consensus in the community that Arceus Inteleon is just a bad deck and you shouldn't play it against Mew. But this variant, people consider this testing group brewed up and we're like, okay, you know what, this beats Mew and this beats the rest of the format. The main differences here are the number of Inteleons drastically reduced, 1 shady dealings and 1 quick shooting, still running and only running 3 copies of Drizzile. So 4 Sobble, 3 Drizzile, 2 Inteleon. You don't see that all too often. Then they're running a 1/1 line of Bidoof and Bibarel, as well as 1 Galarian Zigzagoon. This is something that you'll see in these lists, you know, sometimes. It's not absolutely wild. Sharon's Care, this is something you'll see in most Arceus's lists. That's not crazy. But then, kind of I think some of the big change here is the Sydney. It's the Sydney plus the Pal Pad to recover it. Your opponent reveals a hand, discard up to 2 in any combination of Pokemon Tool cards, Special Energy cards, and Stadium cards from it. If you can get Sydney out early before your opponent can get an Elisa Sparkle off, can stop your path to the peaks, before they can attach all their Fusion Strike energies, Sydney can really just neuter the Mew decks really, really effectively. Bibarel provides you some additional consistency, mainly in the form of just outright card advantage, whereas Drizzile, Inteleon, and Arceus V-Star's Star Birth can just get you the specific cards you need. Bibarel will get you just outright card draw into your hand, which is always very good. And so these are kind of the minute details in deck building that can really influence how gameplay pans out. And I think everybody that played this deck, I think it was I think there were like 6 dudes that played it. I think either 5 out of 6 of them made day 2 or they all made day 2. I think we already pulled up Ian Rob's list. I'm not entirely certain. This is another Arceus Birds list. This one runs, you know, it's pretty much the exact same thing. I think it is the same list that we had from Nicholas Moffat. I believe they played together. Yeah. Yep. Ian Robb making top 8 with the same 59. There's also an escape rope and a scoop up net in here somewhere. So both these players made top 8. So this is 1 card off of that list. I'm not entirely certain what it is. If you're interested, you can go in and parse it out and determine which one you like more. But so this is effectively the same list. These two, they're very, very close. 1 card off could be the difference maker. Finally, the only other list that we really have right now is the Gengar V Houndoom list. This is just a very consistent deck that can hit for a lot of damage with Fear and Panic. This attack does 6 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon V and Pokemon GX in play. The GX is irrelevant in Standard, relevant in Expanded, although Expanded itself might not be relevant. But Fear and Panic can quickly do a lot of damage. GMAX Swallow Up is a really good way to clean up any stragglers, or really just that one straggler and get your last prize. If you have enough of your single strike energy on it, you can just start out, like, you can just outright get KOs with VMAX Swallow Up. If you have 2 single strike energy on it, this thing is doing 290 damage. If you have 3, it's doing 310. And then you're KOing, you know, I mean, you're already KOing Mews, but then you're KOing some VMAXs and whatnot. It's very strong. It's very powerful. This deck is also one that can run Path to the Peak with absolutely 0 issues. It runs Tool Jammer with absolutely 0 issues. It's a strong deck. Stone Journer is a bit of the spicy tech in here. If a stadium card is in play, this tech does 30 more damage, and when you have the 2 single strike energies on it, this thing is doing 100 damage for a total of 200. And if you want to try to use Giga Hammer, that can be a pretty good single prize attack that will be doing anywhere from anywhere from what, 160 to 180 damage. So this thing can hit hard for a single prize. Pokemon, don't sleep on it. I'm really excited to get these 2 lists specifically. I want to see them. We don't have access to them at the moment. When we do, I might pull it up on stream here for a little bit just to see how it all works out and what it do. But let's go ahead and come back to my article here, and we're going to take a look at all my predictions. We're going to take a look at all my predictions and figure out, were they good or were they bad? Spoiler, most of them went south fast. We'll swap between this and the statistics page a little bit just to check it out, but it didn't go well. So, my first prediction, Mew VMAX will make up more than half of Top Cut. There were 0. Not a single one. After Natalie Miller won in Brisbane, the Top Cut was 16 players, 7 of them made Mew, or 7 of them played Mew, and 9 of them played essentially, you know, Arceus variants or Gengar. I fully expected Mew to just get stronger and adapt. I fully expected Mewless to adapt. I expected Mewless to change to the meta somehow. Maybe, I don't know, not necessarily play a different attacker, but change numbers, change trainer cards, change something. I don't know, or change playstyle. But, and I mean, clearly the deck is still good, right? You can still get your points for it at a regionals. If you take it to a regionals, you know 43% of day 2 was Mew again, and like, it's just, I feel like I deserve some credit because Mew was 43% of day 2, which is again bonkers. I'm pretty sure it only made up about 25 or 30% of day 1, so it had a positive conversion rate going into day 2, but it just did not, like, the conversion rate was non-existent for top 8. So already we are 0 for 1 on our predictions. Number 2, this one I'm actually mad about. Someone will drag the corpse of Urshifu VMAX to Top Cut. Do you know, we're going back to look at the meta here. We're going back to look at this meta. Do you know how good of a time Gengar would have, or not Gengar, Single Strike Urshifu and Umbreon would have had on this meta? Look at this! You can just play your fighting energies and deal with the Beedrill lists. You can just play Umbreons and deal with the Mews fairly effectively. You can, like, Moltres, whatever. It's gonna die fast. Gengar gets obliterated by Urshifu. Arceus Inteleon, sure, it's consistent, but its only attacker gets deleted by Single Strike Urshifu. Even the Malamar VMAX decks, that's a Dark Malavar, not like the Psychic Single Prize Malamar decks. Like, Urshifu, Single Strike Urshifu and Single Strike Umbreon would have been so freaking good here. There wasn't a single Urshifu that even made it to day 2. I don't even know how many people took it to the event. Do I think it would have won? No, I'm not going to double down on my bad prediction that turned out to be wrong, but I'm baffled that nobody even made it to day 2 with it. Like, there must have not been a single good player playing Urshifu, which, again, now I fully expect we'll do more predictions in, like, probably at the end of this week or towards the beginning of next week, for the next regionals. If somebody is not, if there's not a good player playing some type of Single Strike Urshifu list, I'm gonna lose it. I feel like it's so good. And when I say lose it, I don't mean I'm going to be pissed and I think everybody's going to be bad. I'm going to say I clearly am an idiot and don't know how to play this game, which might be true, but it still doesn't make any sense to me. So 0 for 2. My next prediction is also, okay, this one was bad. Okay, this one should have been a slam dunk. I feel like this one should have been a slam dunk. This one was bad. Okay, look, we don't need to talk about it, okay? I do still think that Sylveon Pile will be good. I think it's just probably not consistent enough. It's going to be hard to build. The meta's not like in a great spot for it, really. Like Rapid Strike Urshifu is still solid. I don't think it's the best thing in the world, but I don't know. I think it's good. This one was more of my reach. I thought there would be a few lists that would make it into day 2 effectively. I didn't think really we would see anybody make top cut. I think we could have seen day 2. We're gonna remember how good Ultra Ball is. Yes. 4 Ultra Ball. 1 Ultra Ball. Okay, hold on. I thought there were more Ultra Balls in this list. Hold on. I gotta cherry pick my stats. Oh god, I gotta cherry pick my stats better. Hold on. This one plays 4 Ultra Ball. 4 Ultra Ball. 4 Ultra Ball. Let's go back. Or hold on. Let's open this new tab. All right, let's check out this one. Wait, nope. Those lists didn't have Ultra Ball. Xander. But where is it? 4 Ultra Ball. Right there, right? The only list that didn't run 4 Ultra Ball was the Arceus Birds list. I think and I'm pretty sure that is in part because they are running, a lot of consistency. There's more Inteleons, I think, with this list. Honestly, though, I think they should be finding room for Ultra Ball. Straight up, I think Ultra Ball would probably help with the consistency of these decks. They are very tight in space, I will admit, and you do kind of need, as you can see here, they still run 2 Level Ball here, right? You do kind of need it when you're running the Inteleon line, and this deck is even running, a slightly bulkier Inteleon line with this single Drizzile. And again, it's hard to find space in this deck, but Ultra Ball's good, fam. Like, we were getting people being like, Ultra Ball's okay, but I don't think it's going to see that much play. I think it's, it might be like a 2-up, but Quick Ball, Level Ball, Evolution, Incense is a really good search engine. Dude, Ultra Ball is so good for consistency. It's so good. I'm trying to put together a deck right now. I'm trying to put together a freaking Rayquaza deck. And, let me tell you, this deck was already bad enough without Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball in this, the deck's still bad, don't get me wrong. Ultra Ball feels so damn good to play. Ultra Ball is extremely good. People are going to be starting to run 4 of it more consistently now, even in those packed Arceus lists. It's just that good. It searches literally everything. The only justification is if you think you're going to have resource troubles in your hand, and I guarantee you it's not going to be that hard. Los, hello, thank you. Yeah, I need to get some better product so I can push it back more, but then I might be becoming too much like Ludwig, and I don't know if I want to do that. But hey, flattery is the best form of, or mockery is the best form of flattery, whatever. Now this prediction, I hit the nail on the head with this one. I couldn't have been more correct here. In fact, I think I was in fact just extremely correct, to the point that I was too correct. No, this tournament will not get Meloetta or else the Sparkle's banned out of the Mew VMAX list. Yeah, no, the Mew's not going anywhere. Mew is staying. Again, some people might point to this number and be like, but it's broken. And again, all I will do is point to this number and be like, but it's not. I note to the stream title, Mew VMAX is not dead. Stream title, YouTube title, Mew VMAX is not dead. It's still a good deck. The meta was just super over-indexed to counter it. Almost every single deck, with the exception of only a few that made it to day 2, was heavily indexed on taking advantage of its weakness, of like the literal weakness of that it's being 2 times weak to dark, or its weakness of getting hit by Path to the Peak plus Marnie because they run no draw supporters. I fully expect them, or Mew VMAX players, Oh god, I had Chipotle, and it's like, it's making me, woo, it's making me burp a lot. This is not, that's not the usual. I fully expect, like, literally going into this weekend, I fully expected Mew players to play like one professor's research. Just one. A single professor's research would have been good. Or even like a Zinnia's Resolve. But no, they didn't. There was not a whole lot of change in the Mew list. There's going to have to be some adaptation moving forward with Mew, because right now people can beat the deck. A lot of decks can run Path to the Peak. It's not really necessary. We could very well be getting into kind of a rock, paper, scissors type format with Arceus, Gengar, Mew, and then there's probably a third deck. Legitimately, there's probably a third deck that's going to crop up, and I legitimately think it should be single strike. Why did my music pause? Yes. I think we're going to get into a good rock, paper, scissors format with Mew, Arceus, and then I think people are just going to remember that single strike is good. I think people are just going to remember that single strike is actually solid and start playing it. And then there will also be other Arceus variants that are popping up. There will be single prize decks like the Malamar decks that are going to be good. But who knows, maybe the best fighting dark deck is still going to be Arceus V-Star plus the Galarian Birds. That might still be the best fighting deck. But at the end of the day, no, Mew VMAX is not going to get banned. And one of the things that I wanted to say was, we have not had proper in-person tournaments for 2 years. There has been very, very little reason to actually test and try to break formats and figure formats out. We haven't even had a Players' Cup since like Evolving Skies, and I think even maybe before Evolving Skies came out. Right? And so this is now the third set that's come out since our last Players' Cup, or maybe the second set that came out since our last Players' Cup. No Players' Cup has happened since Mew has been released, and so there's been no reason to try to beat the most obvious busted deck, even though there have been like 1Ks and 5Ks and stuff. There has been no actual big clout on the line, and that is always the time that we are going to see the big decks get taken down, is when real tournaments happen with them in the format. And here we see Brisbane. It was a little, you know, I'm gonna be honest, it got my hackles up a bit. It was like, ooh, okay, Mew's very, very good. I'm surprised people didn't figure it out. I'm surprised people like Natalie Miller didn't figure out a way to play something else other than Mew. But going into this weekend, we have seen now Mew, like, gods bleed. Mew is no longer a god. It is now, I think, it's still a good deck. I'm not gonna go crazy over that. I still think it's probably the best deck in the format. People just have to learn how to adapt with it. And that's always how it works in the game of Pokemon, is decks adapt to the meta. Prediction number 7. Okay, wait, hold on. So how many am I for? I only made 9 predictions. I only made 9 predictions. I'm an idiot. Okay, so we were... okay. So we were 1 for 4. We're gonna, okay, you know what, 1 for 5. We're 1 for 5, and I forgot number 5. This people will get more people to play non-Fusion Strike lists. I was correct, and in fact, the 3 Pokemon that I picked were almost the right Pokemon. I should have put Gengar here. That's my only lesson here. I should have put Gengar instead of Flygon. I still think the Suicune list that got second, I think the Suicune player is very, very good at Suicune. I do not think that this is a deck that people are going to be able to pick up and win with, like, Finn. I'm pretty sure their name is Finn. The broadcast was confusing. I'm pretty sure their name is Finn. I don't think people are going to be able to copy Finn's success with this list unless they grind the hell out of this deck. Which, you know, there might be time for the next regionals if you want to try for that. But this is correct. Like, people want to build good anti-Fusion Strike decks. We're just going to see it. It is, you know, we are back in the full swing of things. It's just going to happen. Arceus decks can expand beyond just Turbo Arceus V-Star and to create a challenge to top tails. That is exactly what happened. It also happened with the Gengar decks. I think the most creative one that I saw was probably the Gengar the Arceus Malamar VMAX decks. Those were really cool. They were more on the controlling side of things, more lockdown, drag out style of games. It was really cool to see, really fun. I expect to see more of this, but I also expect these Arceus decks to get more centralized and more streamlined. Because right now, quite frankly, they are a mess. Again, we can go back, what? Where was that? Yeah, we can go back here and see. Arceus Birds, Arceus Birds, Arceus Gengar, Arceus Inteleon, Arceus Sandaconda, Arceus Birds. And all of these birds lists are different, by the way. All of the birds lists are different. Arceus Malamar, Arceus Birds, again, featuring more specifically Zapdos, Arceus Mal, like, it's a little bit nuts sometimes, what these decks turn into. I fully expect they'll get more streamlined. I think the Arceus Malamar deck might become, once the control players get their hands on it, it might actually become a very legitimate and scary deck. We'll just have to see. But hey, you know what? This puts me at what, 3 for 6? 2 for 6? I got this one right. 2 for 6. Okay. Stream match is gonna be the most exciting we've seen in a while. Yeah, these stream matches were bangers. These were fun. The gameplay was exciting. There were really explosive turns. Inteleon and Arceus, their abilities, Shady Dealings and Starbirth, made things super explosive and super exciting. These were fun to watch. Also, the casting was just top tier, as well as was the production. All the player interviews were great. Most everybody was extremely smart about what they were playing. They knew, and they were just excited to be back. This one was a bit of a slam dunk, as the next one will be as well. But I just want to say, before we continue too much, just props to the production team and props to all the players for putting on just really a phenomenal event for the first live event back in the States. I'm excited to see where games go from here. I legitimately, when this can make me choke up again. Like when the casters first came online, like when we first saw them on the broadcast, I kind of teared up a little bit. And when the first match started, it was like, I got so excited because, see, like, in-person card games they're something else, man. They are just something else. And it's not like poker or like competitive poker and stuff where everyone's just like stone-faced and serious, or like chess where everyone's stone-faced and serious, and it's like, no, like, these games are about, like, and people know this, these games are about having fun, right? We're playing Pokemon, right? At the end of the day, we're playing Pokemon. It's fun. It's exciting. I'm ready to watch more of it, ready to see more of it. I'm going to make it to a regionals at some point. That we're going to put together a Rayquaza list one way or another. We're not actually going to play it. It's just going to be me walking through all the cards, what I think is good and what's not. So don't get too excited about that. But this one was another slam dunk, 3 out of 7. 9, there will be a lot of misplays. So many misplays, and we saw a lot of them. Many happened on camera with very experienced players, and so even more happened off of camera. Xfinity, no, shut up. And why does this? Why do you? It's such random timing for that. Anyways. There just were a lot of misplays, but what was really cool to see, the very first stream match that we saw, Rahul Reddy, an absolute gem of a player, really, really smart player, really good player. He was running this, where is it? He was running, yes, this same list that Xander Perot, Isaiah Bradner, many others were playing. He was part of that testing group, all very good, respectable players in terms of competitive finishes. Along with, I can't remember the person who was playing against Rahul, but they were making a lot, they were making a lot of initial misplays, not in terms of choosing the wrong thing to do, but in terms of accidentally shuffling a Marnie back in the deck, accidentally drawing an additional card with Fusion Strike System. And Rahul was super chill about it. And it wasn't in terms of oh yeah, you did it, you can just keep going, it's fine. It was, yeah, no, correct the mistake. We're not going to worry too much about prizes. We're not going to worry about game losses. It sucks to win that way, because guess what? Everybody makes errors. Rahul himself even made a minor error at the end of game 3 when, instead of going and searching for a level ball off of his Drizzile, he just went and found the immediate card that he needed and then attacked for game he went and found his Galarian Zigzagoon, attacked for game, used the Galarian Zigzagoon for the additional damage, but he had the level ball in his deck, right? It's a very minor error that did not actually change the course of the game, but when you're not being, when you're not being respectful about, or not respectful, but when you're in the heat of the moment and you haven't played in person really for many, many years, let alone on stage at the first event that you could have played at, in 2 years, you know, there's going to be errors, and it just happens, and you just have to be respectful about it. Extend a little bit of sympathy, extend a little bit of empathy, and there were a lot of misplays. Again, call your judge, please. Always do. If someone draws an extra card out of a Fusion Strike system, be like, oh wait, hold on, you drew an extra card. I understand, mistakes happen. Do need to get a judge over here though, just so we can make sure that this is sorted out properly, and then you continue on your way. And again, keep in mind, by the way, if the judge issues a penalty, unless it is a game loss, you don't have to accept the penalty, right? Like, and it's a, you take 2 extra prize cards, or you draw a card, or whatever. I don't think that ever happens. You don't have to accept it. It is essentially like, hey, the judge says you take 2 prize cards. You can say, you know what, I don't want to do that. You know, you like, again, but that is up to you. That is your choice. If it's a game loss, you have no say in that matter. All right. So this one, I got this one. This was also a slam dunk. This is 4 out of 8. Hey, we're almost at 50%. We're almost at 50%. Maybe not having that 5th one will come in clutch for me, but no. Man, I thought I was so smart with this one. There was even a respectable amount of this deck in day 2. Like look at this. There were still 2 of them. Suicune Ludi, 50%, even got top 2. Arceus Gengar VMAX. The whole, like, all 2 players made it to top 8. Again, there was a deck list error in top 8, so I'm not going to talk about that one too much. But like, oh man, I don't even think they made top 16. I don't even think the Duraludons made top 16. Hold on, we can go check. Where is it? Okay, let's see here. Duraludon, no Duraludon. No, hold on. No, Duraludon didn't even make top 6 or top 32. Day 2, Duraludon had 2 players and didn't even make top 32. What is this? I got goofed on. Oh my god, I got embarrassed. Like, the Arceus Flygon deck has very little special energy, but even the Gengar deck is only special energy. I can tell you why Duraludon didn't do well, though. It's because the way you beat Duraludon VMAX when you're playing a deck that has special energy is you very simply run a single Echoing Horn. Echoing Horn lets you put a Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto their bench. You might be wondering, well, why is that relevant? Why is that good? Well, if you're up against Duraludon VMAX and your only energies are special energy, Max, hello. Thank you. When you're playing against Duraludon and all your energies are special energies, you need to be able to kill things that aren't Duraludon, and they always play this Arceus here, which very conveniently can get killed by things that have special energies, and so you just need to kill 3 Arceuses or 3 Arceus V stars, and then you win the game. And so, was I expecting people to make those adaptations that quickly? Was I expecting Duraludon to be that vulnerable to Echoing Horn plus boss's orders? No, quite frankly, I wasn't. I am baffled that at least one copy of this deck didn't make it top 32. I am sad that it didn't win, because now I look like a fool and an idiot. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. So at the end of the day, my grade is a 4 out of 9 because I can't count and didn't make a 5th prediction. I just skipped straight to number 6 like a doofus. But overall, again, I will say this event rocked. For being the first event back after 2 years of not being in person, this was super fun. I watched some of the video game championship stuff as well. There were some crazy games. The top 4 games were nuts, by the way. Aaron Traylor just barely eking out a victory over Joseph Ugarte. Joe UX9, one of the currently, I think, like still one of the top rated players in the world based off of championship points. This was just a banger weekend to be a Pokemon fan. For the first event back that most people got to see on the live stream, it was super exciting, super fun. There are so many more fans nowadays, just because of, we all love to hate on how expensive Pokemon cards are to get nowadays and how fast they sell off of Target shelves and whatnot, but it means there's a lot more people in the hobby, and it's really cool to see. And one other thing to note is that there were a lot of people who came in during the pandemic, people who have only ever played Pokemon on PTCGO, who've only ever attended tournaments online, who were able to come in and make day 2 at this event and do really, really well. I'm not sure if we had anybody make top 8 who was new and just made it in from, yeah, so I don't know if we had anybody in top 8 who was an online player, but there were many people from, you know, who made day 2 who had never played in person, and that is like kudos to them for being able to go to a 600-man event, show up, and play well, and make day 2. And I hope and they're only going to, with more experience, these new online players are only going to get better and better and better. I love to see it. I hope we see more of it. I'm ready for more events. Let's look up. I'm going to see when the next one is. I know the next one in the States is like sometime in early May. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to go to it. I think it's Indianapolis. I think the next one in the States is Indianapolis. Pokemon Regionals. Here we go. Okay. Let's check out the regional championship schedule. So this is for the USA and Canada. Yes, so the next, for anybody in the United States, the next regionals, since Salt Lake City just concluded, we already saw that, and since Orlando is unfortunately canceled due to Florida's just stupid policies, the next one is going to be May 6th through the 8th at Indiana at the Indiana Convention Center, 100 South Capitol Avenue. Start looking for stuff now. People are going to still be traveling around this time. There are some people whose school is going to start getting out around this time because they just get out stupid early. If you want to travel to this event, start getting your stuff together now. Start saving now if you need to, and save quickly. This is the next one to come up. I'm sure it will be very, very big, just like this first one was. For Europe, Liverpool is just next week. Yeah, it's this upcoming weekend. So we will probably do an article. I'll probably do an article predictions about this week as well. And we'll have that. And yeah, we'll do another review next week for Liverpool regionals. I imagine this will be much, much smaller. It is in the UK, which is where Worlds is being held. So maybe we'll get quite a few people attending Liverpool. I'd be excited to see that. Latin America, April 2nd through 3rd, so in a couple weeks, in Sao Paulo. So that'll be exciting. We're gonna have 3-4 weeks of back-to-back regionals, and like that's just that's very exciting. Next one for Oceania, May 20th through 21st. So the next week that we have like off for regionals is the weekend that Orlando was scheduled for, which I'm pretty sure is like the 9th through the 8th through the 11th or something like that, the 9th and the 10th. So we got regionals coming up soon, but again, the next one for all of us living out in the States is Indianapolis. Honestly, I'm thinking of trying to go. So yeah, I think that is it for that. I think that's it for that section, but again, I'm just excited to have events back. It's super fun. It's super exciting. Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, again, if you missed the announcement, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has announced the first in-person Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series event is going to be held in Charlotte, North Carolina. That is going to be April 9th through the 10th as well. I'm thinking about going to that one, but I don't have a deck, and I don't think I'm going to be able to afford one. So, it is what it is. The only like in-person card game that hasn't started events back up is Magic the Gathering. Is Wizards of the Coast. They haven't started anything. I don't want no, hold on. I don't want Gatherer. I want this is what I want. The only one that hasn't started in-person events back is Wizards of the Coast, which is baffling because these were like Wizards of the Coast was the OG. Was the OG in-person event thing, and all of these are not in person. These are all online. And so, I understand that to some extent it is safety, but with everybody else showing events, this weekend, over the next month, the only card game, like major card game that's not going to have an event streamed is Magic the Gathering, right? Major in-person event. Even Flesh and Blood has in-person events going on for Star City Games. They streamed their Flesh and Blood event this weekend. So it's just, I want to see Magic the Gathering come back. Not because I really want to play or because I'm like a big fan of the way Wizards of the Coast has handled things, but because it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right that Magic the Gathering is effectively gone from the face of events. Star City Games is the only one running in-person events. Magic the Gathering just isn't running anything. So, fingers crossed. But again, super exciting. Pokemon Regionals are back, baby. Regionals are back.